Hello and welcome to the Pro-Am Formula Racing Championship. This is the Division Sprint. Round 7 takes us to Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium. One-shot qualifying followed by a qualifying sprint, a 5-lap qualifying sprint, and then an 11-lap race to determine the points. A bit of news for you is that the championship leader, Vengeance, is not around today as he has apparently injured himself by jarring his finger in a door somewhere. Sounds very, very painful, so we all wish him well, and hopefully he will return next week. And Vengeance, who's won 4 out of the 6 races so far this season, including last time out at Silverstone, I believe. Or was it Austria last time out? I'm just trying to remember as much as I can. It was the last race at Silverstone that he had won his home. Well, I was going to say his home race, but he's actually Australian. But yeah, he's not around today. So it's a chance for those behind him in the championship to close up the gap. Now, the championship gap at the moment is 63 points. And then it's Fletch in the Red Bull, who's next behind on 70, and then it's Happy Kilmore in the Alpine in third on 52, and Midas Meller in fourth on 50. I'm not sure he's around today either. Just looking at the check-in, I know he's not. So Midas Miller, who's one of 3 race winners this season, so the only race winner involved in tonight's or today's event here in Belgium is Rishi, who's won in Austria a couple of weeks back. And in the Constructors' Championship, Williams lead by 40 points over Red Bull. Williams on 142 points, Red Bull on 102, and it's Alpine in third on 83. Now there's 27 points on offer in this, 25 for the win, 1 for the fastest lap and 1 for the pole position. And so one-shot qualifying will commence. We'll go to Fletch for this one. So right on board with the Red Bull. As he makes his way towards Eau Rouge. Hopefully he'll get through there fine, which he does so. Rear wing open. It's a 30.5 by sector 1. It's currently 13th at the moment on the Delta. And he's up to 11. Can he find any time through Rivaggio? He takes a wide line through that. And now through the corner with no name. And you position yourself to the right for the left-hander of Pouan. Seventh gear through there. And then you make your way towards Le Fagnes. And then we approach another right-hander, that is Campus. And then you carry the momentum through Stavolo. And then through this long part of the racetrack, Blanchimont. He's 7th at the moment, is Fletch, so let's see if he can find any more time at the bus stop chicane. And through the last turn, and Fletch will start P7 for the qualifying sprint. It's Todo Barcelona who is fastest at the end of that session. So here's your grid for the qualifying sprint. Todo Barcelona on pole, ahead of Troy Ye on the front row next to him. Next, Quinton third, ahead of Kilmore. Vintage and John on next up, ahead of Fletch and Smith on the 4th row. Primetime Raz and Lost Faith on the 5th row, ahead of Crommed and Leeway King. ZHR and Isaac make up row 7, followed by Suggested and Sweaty Saga on the 8th row. Rishi and Adds Up on row 9. And then AA running off the grid as he did not set at that time. So there's no points for that. It's going to be a 5-lap qualifying sprint and then an 11-lap race to determine the points. So we're right back in a moment. So we're ready to go then. Probably have a formation lap. Apologies for the cough there. think someone readied up too early, if I'm honest with you. I'm not sure there will be a formation lap for this, so we'll probably just go straight into the race. And so the 5 red lights are on here. It's lights out and away we go. And Barcelona gets off the line fine. He has the Haas go around the outside of Venturi. Yeah, that is. And Quinton's got past as well. So Barcelona down to 5th position already by Lassoz. Better contact behind. But Troyer has got a good margin out in front over Vintage, who's now in 2nd place in the AlphaTauri, followed by Quinton 3rd, Heather Kilmore, and Fletch, who's in 5th place. Someone's in the wall. It's the AlphaTauri who's gone off. That is Lost Faith who's gone off in there. But he will rejoin. His front wing's gone though. And Barcelona's, he was temporarily lost connection there. But he's back in play now. So Troyer in the lead. And Quinton's got up into 2nd place on the exit of Malmedy. And then Kilmore is in 3rd. So Vintage lost a couple of positions despite that great start heading into Eau Rouge. Fletch behind in 5th place. He's about to lose the position here to John, who's going side by side with him here. And looks like someone's had a moment but has continued further behind. So Troyer in the lead still. All the drivers are on soft compound tyres, which is no surprise. I don't think there'll be a safety car in this one, so it's just going to be a complete 5-lap sprint to determine the grid for the main race. So Troyer in the lead with Quinton, 2.5 seconds adrift, and Fletch is out of the race. He's he's crashed out on the exit of Stabilo, and looks like the Alpine of Wayne's gone off further behind as well. So 2 cars out of this sprint already. As the drivers come around to complete the 1st lap, with Troyer in the lead, nearly 3 seconds in front. Then it's Quinton and Kilmore fighting over 2nd position. Rishi's in the pits for a new front wing. And Isaac is out of the race as well. So they all make their way through Les Combes. So the battle's going on behind. There's ZHR and Sweaty Saga fighting over 9th position. And adds up going to the inside of his teammate there. Suggested. And someone else is off in there. That's Cronmad in the Aston Martin. It's continued on though. So Troyer continuing to lead. And Primetime Raz moving in front of Vintage to go up into 4th place. Now Primetime Raz, who has yet to score a point this season so far, is looking for a good qualifying position for the main race later, as Bezfox, who didn't compete in qualifying earlier, is out of the race on the exit of Pouon. So that's the 4th driver eliminated from this race already. And ZHR has gone off somewhere, has rejoined. So now completed the 2nd lap of this race, as Troyer has a 3-second margin over Quinton in 2nd. It's Kilmore, less than a second behind in 3rd place. He's going to have the benefit of the DRS as they go through the Camel Straight. DRS open on the Alpine as he closes in on the Alfa Romeo ahead. Now Lost Faith has lost his front wing there, and he's ducking into the pits to get that changed. So he's making the way through. So Troye, looking at his points total this season, I think this is his first race weekend, I should say, or first round he's competed in. And he's already showing some great pace so far. Possibly a contender for the race win later on. And Barcelona Prime... someone's gone off. It's one of the Ferraris. It's Sweaty Saga who has gone off. He's lost time and places. We'll go back to the battle for 4th position because Primetime Raz is about to lose a position to Barcelona, who goes through. And it looks like Sweaty Saga and Adds Up are out. So both of which will start the race 15th and 16th on the grid. Rishi's got a 2-second time penalty for track limits, which won't affect his race finishing position at the moment. But Sweaty Saga and Adds Up are out of this qualifying sprint. So 14 left as AA makes a move on Vintage to go off into 6th place. Can he fight back though? The AlphaTauri's got the DRS. He should pull alongside here and get back through, which he does so. So Vintage back through into what he thought was 6th place, but he's just been overtaken again by the Red Bull. So Barcelona's up into 4th place then. He's nearly 4 seconds behind Kilmore, who's 3rd. Now watch Quinton, who's under pressure at the moment from Kilmore, who's now a second adrift of him. Now John, who is half a second behind the AlphaTauri of Vintage in their fight over 7th place. Cromad moving in front of ZHR as well. And a new fastest lap by Troye, who starts the final lap of this qualifying sprint. And Barcelona takes that fastest lap point, well, not the fastest lap point, just sets in a new fastest lap, 1 at 43.8. There's Rishi. He's making up good ground actually. On his fresher set of softs. He's just setting a 1:44.5, which is his best lap of the race so far. Not sure he's going to claw back an 11-second margin on ZHR. So Troye is on the verge of starting pole position for the main race later. And someone's gone off in sector 2. Who is that that's gone wide? And that may have been Barcelona actually, who's dropped behind Primetime Raz and AA. But Troye is coming through the bus stop chicane, and he is going to win this qualifying sprint and start on pole position for the Belgian Grand Prix. Quinton, second ahead of Kilmore, and then it's Primetime Raz will be on a brilliant 4th place grid position, and then it's AA in 5th for Red Bull. Barcelona next behind them. Rishi has crashed out at Stavolo on the last lap, so he will start 14th on the grid. Barcelona will start 6th, Vintage will start 7th, had suggested John Smith, and Cromad will be 11th. ZHR will be 12th on the grid, and then one's lost faith has got by Rishi, which he does so. I think his car is controlled by the AI, or he's lost connection somewhere, but he should start in 13th position. So here's your qualifying grid for the Grand Prix later. Troy and Quinton are on the front row next to each other. Kilmore and Prime Tyrez on the second row, followed by AA and Barcelona. Vintage and Suggested make up the fourth row, ahead of John and Smith. Cromad and Zelichar next to each other on row 6, so it's Rishi and Lost Faith. Sweaty Saga, Adsop, Buzz Fox, Isaac, Fletch and Lee Waking make up the grid. Well, that was the qualifying sprint. We'll go on to the main race later. We'll just wait for the hosts to make up the costing grid on the basis of the qualifying sprint result, and then we should get going for the race. We don't have too long to wait, so do not go anywhere. Welcome back. We are just waiting to have the custom grid ready. If you only just joined us, we've had a one-shot qualifying and a 5-lap qualifying sprint to determine the grid for round 7 of the Pro-Am Formula Division Sprint Championship. We're at Spa-Francorchamps. So if you have just joined us, do make sure you leave a like and subscribe. And hopefully soon enough we'll have this race underway. There'll be post-race interviews as well with the drivers. So just another reminder that Vengeance, who's the runaway championship leader, is not around today as he's injured himself by jarring his finger in a door. So we do hope he'll be back for next week. He's got 4 wins out of 6 so far. He'll take in pole position every round before today. It won't be today, obviously. We're starting to see drivers readying up now, so we will get going for this 11-lap race. And then Troy on pole position. So we've got 20 cars on the grid then for the race, which is waiting for the drivers to complete their last-minute tyre and fuel setups. They do have to make a mandatory pit stop in this one. Safety cars are in this one, unlike in the 5-lap sprint. And just a rundown on the calendar whilst we wait for the formation lap to begin. Now we've got a week off next week. On the 3rd of October we go to Zandvoort and then Monza the following week. And on the 17th we go to Sochi. And then we've got another week off. And then once we return on the 31st of October, we've got Singapore, Japan, and then Mexico. And then we've got a week off on the 21st, or the week commencing the 21st. I say the week commencing the 21st. Because I think the races normally take place on the Sunday for the main championships in the PAFR. So today is the 16th, I should say. So a week off next week on the 23rd. And then the 30th of September we'll be racing in Zandvoort. And then the 7th of October will be at Monza. And then the week after that in Sochi. The 21st of October will be a week off. And then on the 28th of October, we return to racing in Singapore and then Japan and Mexico. And then we have a week off the Thursday on the 18th of that month. Brazil is hosting round 14 on the 25th of November. And then the 15th round is expected to be announced. It's not yet announced which venue it will be. It'll be one of the DLC tracks, I assume. Round 16, which will be the last round of the division sprint, that will be in Abu Dhabi on the 9th of December. And then we have 4 weeks off after that before pre-season begins for the new season in the new year. Well, the countdown to the formation up has begun, so time for last-minute changes like fuel settings and, fuel strategies and then tyre strategies. It is an 11-lap race, so there's going to be plenty of pit lane activity throughout this one. They can make their mandatory pit stop anytime they like, unlike in an FT feature race. So we are underway for the formation lap then. So let's run down on the grid for the Grand Prix. So Troye is on pole position with Quinton alongside. It's Kilmore and Primetime Raz on the second row with AA and Barcelona on row 3. Vintage and Suggested make up the fourth row ahead of John and Smith rounding out the top 10. It's Cromad and ZHR on row 6, followed by Rishi and Lost Faith on row 7. Sweaty Sega and Adds Up on the 8th row. Bezfox and Isaac on row 9. And at the back, we've got Fletch and King rounding out your 20 drivers for today. Now have a look of who is on whatever tyres for the start. Troye, Kilmore, Primetime Raz, Suggested, Cromad, Rishi, Adds Up, Bezfox, Fletch and King are on the softs. On the mediums are Quinton, AA, Barcelona, Vintage, John, Smith, ZHR, Lost Faith, Sweaty Saga and Isaac. So Troye in the Haas, making his way round to the grid, just going through campus now. And Jet Berry coming in saying just on the lunch break, so thought he'd jump in. That's very nice of you. Jet Berry is one of those who I regularly commentate and work alongside in another sim league. And Dan Gill's just coming in saying managed to hang on to 7th with a busted wing. So that could well explain Vintage's drop in pace in the remaining laps of that sprint earlier on. So Troye on debut, on pole position, which will be a championship point to his credit. He is one of the reserve drivers being called in for today, as Midas Miller well, I say one of the full-time drivers. It is his full-time debut, in fact. So it is his first race, so his points will count towards the championship. There is a separate reserves championship in this one, just to keep it fair between the full-time drivers and the reserves. I would have put all the reserves points on there, if I'm honest with you. But it is what it is in the PAFR. So 20 cars on the grid then for this Belgian Grand Prix. Troye on the left in the Haas. Quinton on the right in the Alfa Romeo. Who will get into La Source first here at Spa-Francorchamps? The 5 red lights come on. When they go out, we're racing here at Spa. It's lights out and away we go. Brilliant start from Troye. Yeah, on pole position. Then we've got the Alfa Romeo of Quinton under pressure there from the Alpine of Happy Kilmore. Goes to the inside at La Source. Kilmore gets up into second place ahead of the Alfa Romeo. They go side by side, in fact, though. So it's a drag race down to Eau Rouge, but I think Kilmore's going to have the high ground as they enter through there now. So Troye stays in the lead, but it's Kilmore up into second place ahead of Quinton, and Primetime Raz in 4th position. Barcelona is in 5th, Vintage up to 6th place in the AlphaTauri. Rishi is 7th, followed by Suggested and John. And Cromad rounding out the top 10. I think Suggested's been penalised, actually, for gaining position by going off track. One of the Ferraris has spun round, though. That is Sweaty Saga. It's already gone to the back of the field after that. So Troye out in front. Kilmore, brilliant start to get up to second place. Primetime Raz doing well to keep hold of 4th place. Johnny's out of the race, though, in the Alfa Romeo. He's crashed out. Ooh, and King nearly ran into the back of him. We've got a VSC now. So John's accident is enough to prompt the VSC. He's crashed out just before the corner with no name. And Sweaty Saga continuing to go for spins in the Ferrari. So he's not having a good start to his race already. So Suggested the only driver penalised at the start there. So that time can go to his race time in the end. And now we've got 3 drivers with drive-through penalties for speeding under the VSC. They are King, Smith and Sweaty Saga. So they will have to come into the pits within the next 3 laps to take their drive-throughs. So Barcelona's just got in front of Raz, actually, to go up into fourth position. So he's caught him napping slightly. Saga's continuing to have his own melodies at the back of the field, as Choye completes the first lap in the race lead, nearly 3 seconds in front over Kilmore in second. It's Quinton ahead of Barcelona. One of the cars has gone for a spin in the background there. Is that Williams who's gone round? No, it's an Aston Martin of Cronmad who's pointing the wrong way. We can see a few of the drivers making their way through the pits for their drive-throughs. There's no DRS for the first 2 laps of this, as Barcelona looks to get the hammer down and get past Quinton to go up into the top 3. He's into the slipstream of the Alfa Romeo. Which way is he going to go? He's going to go to the outside. He backs off the throttle slightly. It looks like Bezfox has gone round in the Haas. He's lost his front wing completely. So that'll be him off into the pits very, very shortly. Mosfe's just lost the position there to Fletch, who's making his way through the field from the back of the grid. And then Sweaty Sacker, he needs to come in for a new nose section. So that's not, he can't take his drive through under that, so he'll have to go around again and come in again to take that drive through. He's got to hope for a safety car. So just watching the battles behind is Quinton in third place. Has got Barcelona behind him. And someone's gone off in sector 1. It's Sweaty Saga, who's lost his front wing again. He's gone in too quick at Eau Rouge. So that'll be him off into the pits for a new nose section. I just hope he doesn't decide to deliberately crash the car, if I'm honest with you. Otherwise there will be repercussions. And Vintage and Rishi going head to head with each other for 6th position. So Rishi gets through. He's done well from the back of the field, actually. So he's in 6th place now. And Barcelona moves up to 3rd place then with DRS as he got by Quinton on the Camel Straight. So that's the Williams through. As Primetime Raz looks to try and get in front of Quinton as they head through Rivage. Contact made there, and Primetime Raz goes for a spin. He's taken out by the AlphaTauri of Vintage. So Primetime Raz's race is over. That was quite an audacious manoeuvre there, and we've got another VSC. So Primetime Raz, who did very well for his best qualifying of the season, has been taken out by the AlphaTauri there. Nothing the AlphaTauri driver could have done, really. So Primetime Raz's race is over. Bezfox is in the pits for a change of tyres. So that's the 2nd retirement of the race. And Sweaty Saga needs to be careful not to exceed the VSC. He's definitely going too quick at the moment. He just wants to get into the pit lane as soon as he can. We're back on the way now. Doesn't look as though anyone has got drive-through penalties at the moment, apart from Sweaty Saga, who got that from the first virtual safety car. And now Vintage will be coming into the pits for a new front wing as well. Totally unfortunate to get caught up in that incident with Raz. So he makes his way into the pits now for a new front wing. Fletch also coming in for a change of tyres. And Isaac into the pits and out of the race. Decides to not go any further. So that's another driver gone from this race. Troye in the lead still. Nearly 3 seconds in front. Running wide though on the exit of Malmedy. You won't want to be making too many mistakes like that, as a time penalty could cost him the race win. Barcelona in 3rd, Rishi now 4th, Aston Martin. He's just got by Quinton actually. So Rishi doing very well on the soft compound. So Vintage has rejoined in 14th place now. And looks to make live work on those soft compound tyres, but he's going to be struggling on those towards the end of the race, but we'll wait and see. Now Troye extending the margin at the front. Someone's gone off in sector 2. Looks like the Mercedes of Smith has gone round. I don't think Smith is having the best of seasons, if I'm honest with you. Smith, who is currently running in 7th place on 31 points, which isn't too bad, if I'm honest with you. As Rishi comes into the pits for his only stop of the race. He's got a Mercedes behind him, has he? No, but suggested he's in the pits as well, so he'll want to get out in front of that McLaren, which he does so. He doesn't lose too much time stuck in the pits as Cronmad, his teammate, is coming on the start-finish straight now. Heading into La Source. Who's going to have the upper hand here? I think it's going to be... is it Rishi? No, Cronmad just gets in front, so Rishi's going to have to fight this one. Can he get the DRS and get by? He has got the DRS, but is he going to be close enough to have a go? Cronmad will know that he's there. And ZHR is out of the race as well. So he's crashed down the exit of Malmedy. Now, is that going to be out a safety car, I wonder? That's another accident on the exit of that turn, and Sweaty Sega is also out of the race, and Suggested gone as well. Now, that is most certainly going to bring out the safety car, which it does so. So the red liveried Mercedes car, safety car that is, heading out on track just behind a Mercedes Formula 1 car. How ironic to see both of them coming through the pit lane together in sympathy. Or symphony, which I can't remember which is the better term of the two in that context. And this is going to prompt the likes of Troye and Kilmore into the pits now as well. I think everyone's going to be pitting in that's not stopped yet. Which is bad news for Rishi, actually, because these guys have now effectively got a free pit stop. So Troye comes in, gets the car slowed down to the 80 km/h speed limit here at Spa. Kilmore also in, Barcelona likewise. Now the good news for Barcelona is that he can go into the soft compound tyre because he started the race on the mediums, whereas Troye and Kilmore have to go on either the medium or the hards because they've already done a stint on the softs. So Troye stays in the lead. Kilmore will be in second position with Barcelona now third. Lost Faith, who has not pitted yet, is in fourth place now. Quinton's on the soft compound, which is good news for him. King also in. He's got to go onto the mediums as well. AA, who's already pitted, can now go onto another set of soft tyres. So we've got 14 drivers left in this race now. Bess Fox and Smith are at the back of the field in 13th and 14th positions. They've already come into the pits, although they may decide to come in again and get another set of boots on. They're not doing so yet. They're both at the back of the field anyway, so they've got nothing to lose. So the safety car remaining out there. Yeah, it's likely to stay out for another lap, I would think, as well. So your race order, Troye leads, Kilmore second, Barcelona third. Lost Faith, who's not pitted yet, is in fourth. Then we've got Quinton in fifth, on the soft compound now, on a fresh set of softs. Rishi sixth, adds up seventh, Fletch eighth, Vintage ninth, and Cronmad running out your top 10 point scorers. The driver with the fastest up of the race currently is Troye, which is no surprise, as he has been dominating at the front prior to the safety car. He's definitely got some good pace in there, quite frankly. Now, Kilmore finished on the podium a couple of weeks ago in Austria. Goes into the race third in the championship on 52. You he only managed 8th last week at Silverstone as well. So he needs to get his championship back on track, and this is a great opportunity for him to do so with Vengeance not competing today. So Lost Faith does decide to come into the pits, as does Bez Fox, who decides to go onto a set of softs, I would presume. So the softs go on, and Bez Fox will rejoin at the back. Now those on the mediums are going to be suffering here, because Barcelona and Quinton will be all over the back of Kilmore and Troye in the remaining laps of this. The safety car will be coming in at the end of this lap, no question, so Troye will back up the fields. This is going to be very much a 4-lap dash to the end of the race. The only driver with a time penalty at the moment is Bez Fox, who has 3 seconds. That'll be for track limits. So 1.3, I was going to say, well, there's no such thing as a gap at the moment, as we are on the safety car conditions. Now, if it was to remain as it is now with the order that we've got, as far as the championship is concerned, Fletch, who is running in 7th place, would get 6 points from this. He would move on to 76, which would put him 57 points off the championship leader, Vengeance. Kilmore, with his 2nd place, would put him on to 70 points. And 6 points off Fletch in 2nd. There's confirmation of the safety car coming in at the end of this lap. Just going through Stavelo now. So Troye's got all the time he needs to back up the field. Allow the safety car to shoot off. Once it's ready, he can blast clear through the bus stop chicane. There's no overtaking until the start-finish line. It used to be the safety car line a few years back, but they changed it back to what it used to be, which is the start-finish line. I honestly prefer the safety car line, if I'm honest with you, but it is what it is. In real-life Formula 1, they may decide to change that back to the safety car line for future reference. So Troye has still not gone yet. The drivers behind thought he had gone, but he's not. But he has now. So we're back on the way here at Spa, with Troye leading the field. Kilmore under pressure there from Barcelona. Goes to the inside into La Source, and he gets through and up into 2nd. So Barcelona's got one driver out of the way, and Fletch is out of the race. He's tangled with someone. He's gone into the wall. Otherwise, he'll be going no further. No, and someone else has gone off. It's the Aston Martin of Rishi. So that's another driver gone from this Belgian Grand Prix. So 2 drivers out on the restart. So Troye in the lead, Barcelona 2nd, Kilmore 3rd. Adds up to 4th place then in the McLaren. Then we've got Vintage in 5th. Quinton now 6th. Cromad in 7th place. Ada King, AA and Smith. So down to 12 already. I wonder how many we're going to get to the finish here. But AA is going to the inside of King on the exit Rivage here. Does he get through on the outside? The answer is no. But he may do the switchback. Side by side as they come towards the left-hander of Pouon. He gets through, and Troye is off the track. So the race leader, who's dominated this one before the safety car period, has gone backwards. And he's fallen to the back of the field almost. And that allows Barcelona into the lead of this race. Unbelievable restart. Vintage ahead of Adds Up into 4th place. And Vintage has gone round. That's his front wing gone. He's hit the wall. So another driver in trouble. It's all kicking off here at Spa on the restart. And it looks like Troye's had another spin. So it goes from bad to worse for him here. So 3 laps remaining. Barcelona leads. Kilmore second. Quinton now third, but we're watching this battle behind. Remember, there's no DRS for the first 2 laps of the restart. We can see a move there from Smith, making a move down the inside of Lost Faith into La Source. Drivers need to be careful as they come through Eau Rouge here, not push too hard or upset the balance of the car as they make their way through Eau Rouge and Radion, which King, Lost Faith and Smith are able to get through there safely. Lost Faith to the outside. He is on the soft compound, whereas King's on the mediums. It could go 3 abreast, actually, as Smith gets past King. Brilliant move there, and clean as well. So Smith gets up to 8th place in the Mercedes. Quinton's back up to 3rd now, and chasing Kilmore. And Vintage rejoins. Oh, and someone else has gone for a spin. That's Smith. So he throws his hard work all the way and drops down. Boys down 10th. He's got damage to his front wing as well. So at least Troyer will go through and up into 10th place. What could it have been there for Troyer after dominating the race? And Quinton gets on the curb though on the exit of Stavelo. Kilmore trying to go defensive, trying to get out of the tow from the Alfa Romeo. Now is Quinton going to make a lunge here at the bus stop chicane? The answer is no. So he waits for the DRS to be enabled, which it does so now. He won't use it on the pit straight, but he can most certainly use it on the Camel Straight once they go past Eau Rouge and Radion. There are 2 DRS zones here at Spa. Now Quinton, we're on the penultimate lap of this race now. As they both make their way through there. Smith into the pits for a new front wing. And Quinton with DRS. Kilmore goes defensive. Quinton goes to the inside here. And he goes through and up into 2nd place. So Quinton into the top 2 here as Kilmore drops back. And now we watch adds up an AA fight over 4th place, sorry. Cromad in a fine 6th place as well. Lost Faith has just picked up a time penalty for track limits, which will drop him behind King. There's Troyer in 10th place. Smith rejoins just behind Vintage, so if someone else drops out, these 2 could be fighting over the final point. And King now with a time penalty as well, so that's good news for Lost Faith, as he looks to get past Cromad here for 6th position on the road. But we are now on the final lap of this race. Lost Faith diving to the inside there. Amazingly got the move done. He leaves the Aston Martin with too much space to duck back on the inside. And Lost Faith should get through here at La Source this time. And he doesn't do so. So we're on the last lap then. AA looking to get past Ads here for 4th place. Does he do so here? To the outside he goes. This could be an unbelievable move here from the Red Bull. Gets on the curves though, so has to wait behind again. Now, will he get through round the outside here? Through Rivage? The answer is no. As Fox has got by King as well to go up into 8th place. So it's been a very interesting couple of races here with the qualifying sprint that we had earlier. They trialled it last week and the drivers seem to have liked that. But this race is about to come to a close now as AA looks to try and get past as to go up into 4th place, and looks like Lost Faith has gone for a spin. Oh, that's a shame. He lost it all by himself as well. And he's going to drop behind Troye as well. But here's Barcelona, who stood in for vengeance today, and what a job he's done. He crosses over the line to win the Belgian Grand Prix at Spa, takes the 25 points. Quinton comes home in 2nd for Alfa Romeo. Then it's Kilmar on the podium once again for Alpine in 3rd place. Adds up, just holds on to 4th ahead of AA. Then it's Cromad will be in a fine 6th place for him. Great stuff from the Aston Martin driver. Buzz Fox is 7th. King has gone for a spin on the last lap. He falls behind Buzz Fox and Lost Faith. So Troye is 8th, Lost Faith 9th. King drops to 10th. The driver with the fastest lap of the race was Barcelona as well, so he takes that extra point. But we've got a battle for 11th position here as Vintage and Smith go side by side. Vintage goes wide. Smith doesn't give up here, goes to the outside into the bus stop chicane. Vintage has been penalised for track limits now, so Smith is pretty much assured of his 11th position. But it's victory for Barcelona here at Spa. So here's your final race result then, with Barcelona the race winner and setting the fastest lap. Quinton 2nd, Kilmar is in 3rd place. Adds Up is in 4th ahead of AA in 5th. Then we've got Cromad in 6th position, followed by Bez Fox, Troye, Lost Faith, King, rounding out the top 10 point scorers. Smith was 11th, followed by Vintage in 12th, and the last of the finishers. Rishi crashed out, as did Fletch. ZHR suggested Sweaty Sega, Isaac, Primetime Raz, and John, who crashed out on the opening lap. Well, as far as the championship is concerned, a lot of the Top Guns didn't score today. So, looking at how it affects things, Kilmar's 3rd place moves him on to 67 points, 3 off Fletch, who stays in 2nd. Mella didn't score, he didn't compete. Rishi doesn't score either. AA did score, he gets 10 points for his effort, so he moves up to, well, he stays in 6th position, but he's 1 point behind Rishi. So the championship gap between Vengeance and Fletch is the same as it was going into the round. So it's not too bad of a day for the man who is absent due to his injuries. We've got time for some interviews now, so bear with us one moment as we will begin the interviews very, very shortly. And yes, it is. It's been quite a manic race today, folks. And we start with AA actually. How would you sum up that race? Because given that I missed the last couple of races due to the fact that I was either unwell or I had to attend something which was important to me. But how did you find the Belgian race in the division sprint? And 12 cars making it to the end of that race. We saw a few drivers sort of crashing out on the restart. Actually, there was so much happening on that first lap of the safety car restart. Thankfully, you were able to avoid all that melee and come home and collect 10 points. I believe that's your best results of the season, unless I'm mistaken. But that's most certainly one of your best drives. We've got a week off next week, so what's the plan going forward for the next trio of events that's coming up? Because we've got Zandvoort, which I think is going to be a fan favourite of a venue. I've seen some brilliant races in on F1 2021 in a lot of sim leagues which I commentate on. It's a brilliant racetrack, as is Monza. So much drama can happen there. And then we've got Sochi, which is sort of a fairly standard racetrack for the drivers to be competing on. So it's definitely a trio of events to look forward to. Cool. Well done on today's work. Yeah, a fine 5th place for you, and that boosts your points table to a total of 42. We'll go to Vintage next, who ended up 12th and last, but at least he got home nevertheless. Vintage, despite the damage you had in the qualifying sprints, you were able to stay in the hunt, but then a spin towards the end of the race curtailed a chance of a points finish there. And, so much mayhem happened in that race. How did you see it all unfold from your perspective? Yeah, it was a very unfortunate incident because I think Primetime Raz was having a battle of his own ahead of him, and then contact between his front left and the rear right of the driver ahead caused him to spin at Rivage, and then obviously you had nowhere to go to run into him. So I do felt sorry for the pair of you actually, because we didn't want it to end as it did, but it was what it was. But at least you got to the end of the race, nevertheless, Vintage, and better luck in a couple of weeks' time in Zandvoort. We'll go to Rishi next, who was in good contention for a podium finish, and then on the restart, unfortunately crashed out at the top of Radion. What happened? Yeah, and you've been on a good run of form because whilst I was absent, you did win one of the races in Austria. It was a couple of weeks back, so that's obviously a good sign of the efforts that you're showing in the division sprint this season. We go to Zandvoort next, and then Monza and Sochi. Are those the kind of tracks are you hoping to excel on and confident you can do that? No worries. Well, hard luck on today, but better luck next time in a couple of weeks in Zandvoort, Rishi. Thank you very much. We'll speak to John next, who didn't get very far actually in the race in the Grand Prix, but I think it was a very similar circumstance to Rishi, actually. I think he got a little bit, not quite at Radion, a little bit further on the opening lap. But I think it was a matter of, I think you got caught out on the curbs or something, wasn't it? Yeah, I was just going to say, because last week you finished on the podium, which was by far your best result at Silverstone. And I wasn't there when it happened, but how did that go for you? Hmm. And there's been this recent trial of the qualifying sprints, where it's just essentially a five-lapper following the one-shot qualifying. Um, Give us your opinion on this, and is it a good thing long-term for the PFFR? Hmm. And finally, Zandvoort in a couple of weeks, because we've got no race next week. A track that you potentially going to do well at, or not? Well, thank you for your time there, John, and best of luck to Zandvoort in a couple of weeks. And well done on the podium finish from last week at Silverstone. But unfortunately, it wasn't to be today, but better luck next time. We'll speak to Vengeance, who wasn't around today, the championship leader. Can you give us an insight as to what's happened? Ooh. I suppose a saving grace. I was just going to say a saving grace is that the championship gap that you've had has not decreased. So at least that's consolation for you. You've done. Yeah, I was just going to say because you've dominated the championship so far with 6 pole positions and 4 wins. I'm not saying that you've got one hand on the trophy yet, but it's certainly looking very, very good for you. Well, at least you've got an extra week off actually now because the division sprint's not racing. Do you think you'll be? Do you think your thing will be well enough in 2 weeks' time? Do you reckon? We'll wait and see further down the line. Sorry to hear about the finger of yours being jarred, but hopefully it will be better in a couple of weeks' time. Everyone, thank you very much for your time speaking to us after what's been a chaotic Belgian Grand Prix, both in the qualifying sprints and in the main race itself. And the next round of the championship will be in Zandvoort in 2 weeks' time. Well, thank you everyone that's tuned in today. It's been a pleasure being on board in the comms on commentating on today's events, and we can't wait to do it all again in a couple of weeks' time. I'm Tom Cairns, and I'll speak to you again soon when the Pro Am Formula Racing returns.